Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another video where we talk about U.S. soccer. Today, we're going to be doing a roster reaction to the U.S. soccer calling in players for the friendly against Bosnia and Herzegovina. So the first thing I want to do, I know I'm putting out this video on, I think, the 25th of January. I'm recording it on the 24th. I have not looked at a single thing. I've not listened to podcasts. I've not looked at articles in terms of who's being called in. I want to give you an authentic reaction to the roster announcements. The first thing I did, the only thing I've done, is to look at Bosnia and Herzegovina's FIFA ranking, just to kind of see, like, are we calling in like the worst team in the world in order to just try out some players on our side, or what are we doing? So they're currently ranked 38th. To give you some perspective, the United States is currently 25th. So that's not a huge gap. Like, it may be a gap in the points, maybe, but it's not like 25th versus 75th, right? Like, so I don't know if Bosnia is going to send their A team or their B team or whoever. I think it was Serbia last year, maybe, that we brought in, and it was kind of like their B/C team that they brought in for the friendly. The thing that you need to know about the January friendly is it's not an official FIFA international break. So clubs are not required to release their players. Now, the player might get upset and all that kind of stuff, but they could say, like, dude, like, we're in the middle of our season, depending on where it's at. So my expectation before I go on to look, I'm going to look at the U.S. Soccer website and see what we find, is very few international players. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody from the Premier League or the Championship, like a Lyndon Gooch or Cameron Carter-Vickers or something like that. I wouldn't expect those guys because their leagues are still in season, and it's not like every team has a 2-week break to play these games like you would in, say, March or June or something like that during an official FIFA break. So I would expect a heavy population of MLS players, not even Liga MX's, players, because they're still in season. Like, their season's still ongoing. They don't have a break. That's the other thing I looked up. I looked up the Mexican League, their games, and they have games all throughout January. So it would be a little surprising if those players were released for this camp. So now that we've done that, let's just go look at U.S. soccer. I always like to see, like, what's on the front page, because that kind of indicates, like, what they're promoting. And as you can see, not a single lick, like, at least above the fold, right? The fold being the part below here, right? About the men's national team at all. Now, granted, the U.S. Under-20 women's team is in the CONCACAF championship. They've gotten through to the semifinals. They won their group. I actually watched the game against Mexico yesterday because I thought it was against Mexico. But it's kind of like, oh, okay, so where is the where is it? Okay, we're talking about women's national team. Oh, okay, here's some men's, like, the entire first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like 12-ish items are all women's national teams. Going back to the 11th. Okay, so here's 5 things about the camp. January camp. Can I just get the roster? No. Okay, so easy thing to do. Let's just go look at men's national team. Maybe on the dedicated men's national team. Okay, look. Yay, Ian Harkes. John Harkes. Yay. Okay, there it is, all the way down here. Saracen calls 30-player roster to National Training Center for 2018 January camp. Here's the other thing of why I personally don't put a lot into this camp. I don't put a lot into the game. It kind of doesn't matter. Personally, here's why I think that. Dave Saracen is highly unlikely to be on staff with the next men's national team manager. He could be. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know. Like, I know he was with Bruce Arena with the LA Galaxy for a long time, so that's kind of why he's there, is my understanding. But I would expect new manager is going to bring in new staff. So it's like, we're bringing in players to impress a staff that isn't going to be there. Maybe some people are going to be there. Maybe technical director, maybe Tab Ramos is going to be, in charge of everything. Who knows? So maybe there is some aspect to it. So it kind of depends on who's coming in, but right now you're like, okay, Dave Saracen's not going to be the manager, so like, it doesn't really matter what he thinks. So I'm not sure who they're trying to impress if I'm a player. Okay, I just want the roster. Just don't give me, okay, goalkeeper. Let's look here. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Goalkeepers. Alex Bono, no caps. Bill Hamid, interesting. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Cody Cropper and Zach Steffen. So the names I know there is Bill Hamid and Zach Steffen, because Bill Hamid was on the Gold Cup roster and he just moved to FC Midland in Denver, which I think is very interesting because he just moved, I want to say like January 1st, he officially joined the club. So the fact that he's coming back, let's just do a little search here. I'm just going to do a little Google here. Do they have games in January? Because if they do, personally, I would say that's probably not a good thing for Bill Hamid, right? I mistyped schedule. That's excellent. Okay, so they have a break, so that makes sense. That makes complete sense because it's winter in Denmark. So from December 11th to February 9th, they have a break, so he can come back. Because otherwise, I was going to say, like, that's probably not a good sign for him. Is like, oh yeah, you just got here, but you can go back, so that's okay. Zach Steffen obviously did exceptionally well in the MLS playoffs with Columbus Crew, so he probably earned that call up. And again, Toronto, New England Revolution, Columbus Crew are all MLS teams, and then FC Midland, who are out of season right now. So those goalkeeper call-ups make sense. You'll notice Ethan Horvath is not here, and that's because he's with Club Bruges schedule, and he kind of had the mix-up in the Portugal friendly where it went through his legs. I was going to see are they on some sort of a break. No, they're not on a break, so that's why he is not in the call-up, or one of the reasons. It's a convenient reason, I guess. All right, looking at defenders. Danny Acosta, I want to say he's been on the U20 team. Justin Glad, same thing. Nick Lima, Justin Morrow, who I think was in the Gold Cup roster. Ike Apara, Tim Parker, Matt Polster, Brandon Vincent, Walker Zimmerman. So Walker Zimmerman's had a cap, and Justin Morrow's had 3, and everybody else is new. Again, Real Salt Lake, San Jose Earthquakes, Toronto, Real Salt Lake. It's all MLS teams. So, and Brandon Vincent's had a cap. To be honest with you, I'm not familiar with Brandon Vincent. I apologize if you are a big fan. Midfielders, Tyler Adams, who is one of the up-and-coming stars. I think you can argue for not just MLS, but the U.S. men's national team. I think he's going to have a great future for us. Can play midfield or right back in a pinch. More like a right wing back. Paul Arriola, who did well in the Gold Cup and made some appearances there. 15 caps. Is that the most of this group? Probably would be my guess. Russell Knaus, Marky Delgado, Marlon Hairston, Ian Harks, Brooks Lennon, Christian Roldan, Kellen Rowe, who did well in the Gold Cup, Will Trapp, and Jossie Zardes. So again, I'm just triple checking. You see no international players, all MLS. Forwards, Juan Agudelo, Dom Dwyer, Jordan Morris, Christian Ramirez, Rubio Rubin, who has no team. Is that I mean, maybe that helps him get a team, but it's like, you're calling in a guy who even MLS has said, yeah, he's probably not worth having on a roster. Again, there may be some other story to that I'm not familiar with. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on Rubio Rubin, but really? Okay. CJ Sapong. So again, all MLS. We know Dom Dwyer. We know Juan Agudelo. We know Jordan Morris. Christian Ramirez getting his first call-up. He has a good story. If you haven't looked it up, I highly recommend just do a Google, like Christian Ramirez, U.S. soccer career, like how he's worked his way to Minnesota United and now gotten his first call-up. That's impressive. So, as expected, it's a bunch of newbies, right? The most caps we have, who was it? Was Ariel with Jossie Zardes, who really 37, Paul Arriola with 15, Juan Agudelo with 27. That's a surprising number to me because obviously, he hasn't featured a ton. Jordan Morris expected, I guess, but especially on the defensive side, look at that. Like, there's not. You had 3 caps of Justin Morrow. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 caps amongst all 9 defenders. That is either an opportunity or a position of extreme concern. We know we don't have any left backs or right backs. Like, that has been a long-standing concern with the U.S. men's national team. So it's probably a good thing that they're getting a call-up. And again, it depends on which team Bosnia and Herzegovina send over to us. But they're not rated, like, they're not that bad, right? They're number 38 in the world. It'll be interesting to see how organized the defense can be and what kind of formation we use and all that kind of stuff. Same thing, goalkeepers. It's like you're blooding some younger players, I suppose. I actually don't know the histories of a couple of these guys, but Bill Hamid seems to be like the veteran because he's had Gold Cup appearances. So getting them some experience is obviously a good thing. It'd be interesting to see who starts and if they rotate in one other player, maybe like get a half and a half, like maybe Bill Hamid starts and then Zach Steffen gets a half, who knows. And then overall, it's kind of what I expected, is relatively young, new squad. A lot of guys that I've seen in the U20 ranks are kind of around there. Like a Justin Glad and who else did I say? Justin Glad was definitely one. Tyler Adams. So some interesting things there. Seems to be like you've got some pretty strong forwards in terms of experience and like they've played, right? Like Juan Aguilera plays. Dom Dwyer had the big move to Orlando City last year. Jordan Morris has played, although his sophomore season didn't go so great. Things like that. So overall, I'm kind of like, like I'll watch the game as soon as I remember when it is, to be completely honest with you. January 28th, which I guess is Sunday. Yes, Sunday at 9:30 Eastern. Great, thanks for that. It's going to make getting up for work on Monday excellent. But it's not really all that exciting when you look at it, right? Like I'm not trying to take anything away from the players. It's exciting for the players, especially all those players getting their first call-ups, right? Like, congrats. But it's kind of a meaningless friendly, and it's a way for us to try out some folks, but you're not bringing in your best, I guess, right? You're bringing in all MLS. Hey, what do you got? And oh, by the way, I'm probably not going to be here, past the World Cup because we're going to get a new manager, right? So I'd love your thoughts on the call-ups and who's coming in and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you leave a comment. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a like. If there's something you think I missed or someone you're like, oh man, I'm a huge Alex Bono fan. Okay, sorry, let me know that. And we'll see you in the next video. I am going to talk about Pro-Rel. I'm going to talk about just some of the things that have been going on in the U.S. soccer world. Why will Bruce Arena just not stop talking? But Pro-Rel's coming. I've been promising Pro-Rel for a long time, so that may be next week, is to talk about Pro-Rel. Personally, you may know what Pro-Rel is because you're a big fan. I think there's a need out there to explain to the average American sports fan who doesn't watch, we call it soccer, it's U.S. Soccer Federation, okay, ease up, who don't know what Pro-Rel is. So I kind of feel like there's a need to do this is what Pro-Rel is, and then maybe a separate one talking about, could it work? How could it work? What challenges would we face in the United States? That's what's going to be coming up next on the channel. So make sure you drop a subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.